Hello out there, and in front of you today is the Civivi Mini Mastadon, and I've got to tell you guys first and foremost, this is not the knife for me. It's not a terrible knife, it's not a badly made knife, it just isn't my favorite design, and it really brings to mind one thing about Civivi that keeps me from keeping more of their knives in my collection. I am a big Civivi fan, but there is a distinct reason why I don't have more of them. There's one thing about the company that I just sort of don't like as far as the knives they put out, and this knife really is a good example of that. So we're going to talk about the model a little bit today, and then we'll get into that one thing about Civivi that just keeps me from being a big collector of theirs. So the Mini Mastadon is a Cleaver style knife, as you can see. I guess there's a full-size one. I haven't really checked it out. This is one that was sent to me via the Apex Pass-Around group, and that means the people at Civivi actually sent this one out for us, which is very cool, so thank you to them for doing that. But when it comes to the design and the lines of the knife, it just really isn't my thing. You know, I'm not a big Cleaver kind of guy. I don't have... Maybe I have one knife in my collection. I can't even remember that has like something similar in terms of this blade, but it just visually doesn't do it for me. It just isn't working. I'm not a big fan of it. And that really, you know, it sort of goes to show that that kind of thing, the looks of a knife really do mean something when it comes to if you're going to carry it and if you want to have it in your collection. You know, this might be a perfectly functional tool. You can see the minimalist branding here that says 9CR 18 MOV. So that is the steel on this one, which is different from D2, which I'm sure people are excited about in some regard because we like variety. But yeah, just the blade, it just isn't what I'm looking for in a pocket knife. Cleavers in the kitchen, absolutely, they make a lot of sense. But this one, I don't know, it just as far as the look and the design, it just doesn't seem to suit the purpose of a cleaver, first of all, and I don't think it's going to be performing any better than any other type of pocket knife blade shape. So when we're talking about the cleaver, what we have is a full flat grind here, and it is relatively thin, so as far as that kind of performance goes, like I think it'll be just fine. But that said, you know, the Civivis that I have and the ones that I like the most, ones that I'd like to get actually too, like the Chronic and the X-Arc, those are hollow ground, so they're super thin. The backlash is super thin, which is right here. I've got a shredder right here, which is hollow ground as well. So so it's not like this thin flat grind on the Cleaver style is going to be any better performing than their other models. So one, it just doesn't stand out. Two, I don't understand the hole. You know, I do know what a hole in a cleaver is for. It's for hanging it up because the darn things are bulky. They don't fit in drawers and they don't fit in most knife blocks. So you put a hole in it and you can just hang it on a hook. That's not necessary in a pocket knife. So is this for show? I don't know. The other thing about the cleaver aspect is that, like, if you're really doing some cleaver stuff and like doing a little whacking, it just doesn't have the shape and the handle and the dimensions to really let you do that. You know, you would need a really significant negative blade angle the way you would have in a kitchen knife in order to be able to do that. And you can see, just holding the knife on the board, like you can get some of the knife on whatever like cutting board you're using, but not all of it. So it just isn't good enough in that capacity. Like you would need the handle to like be coming down and thin up to here. So you'd have so much more blade below your hand. So again, just as far as it being like a cleaver for looks, it just isn't something that matters to me, and a little bit bulkier in the pocket with that width here, it just isn't working. That said, if it is working for you design-wise, it's a well-made knife, just like almost every other Civivi that I've come across. It does have that little bit of variety in terms of the 9CR versus D2, which is what they use more often than not. But that sort of brings me to the overall, not issue, you know, because it isn't a huge issue with Civivi, but it's just something that holds me back from collecting them. And it's that more often than not, everything they release is similar to the last thing that they put out. I mean, all of the basics, you know, when we bring back the shredder, which is a knife that was donated by Mike Likes Knives, by the way, and this is going to go up for sale or raffle or something like that. Let me know if you're interested in this one, because I know it's sold out everywhere, and this is going to be sold off, or like I said, raffled off to benefit Nick's family. So that's pretty awesome. So shoot me a message if you're interested in this knife, and maybe we can just work something out and skip all that. But anyway, so we have the shredder, we have the backlash. So they're all liner locks. You know, they all pretty much feel the same. Like the knives just feel the same. So what I'm getting at is, yeah, if you're a collector, maybe that'd be interesting to you to just have a whole bunch of knives that are like similar versions of each other, just with different blades and some different layouts and dimensions, I guess. But for me, like, this is what I thought of. Take a look at Kershaw. And this is what I'm talking about with variety. You know, you have a variety of different designs. They're not like copying the same thing that they're doing. They're not just like pushing out these cookie cutter kind of things. And that's what I see from Civivi. Again, they're putting out high quality knives, and they're all high quality, so you can't knock them for that. But from a collector standpoint, I certainly don't need to have all of them. Now, that said, this is hypocritical, and I get it. You know, everybody has their own preferences, and everybody comes at the knife hobby from their own way of thinking. I'm a guy with a whole bunch of different mini grips. So, you know, you can say that, hey, I do like a lot of the exact same knife, but there's a goal here. I'm trying to collect all of the mini grips. If you're trying to collect all of the Civivis, then yeah, this is going to be a perfect one to add, a little bit different with this this blade design from the other things that they do. But for me, if I'm just looking at a bunch of different knives that are out there on the marketplace, and I'm trying to say, all right, I've got $60 to spend on a knife, like, am I really going to get something that feels and behaves for the most part exactly like another knife that I have? My answer is no. I'm probably going to try something different. You know, and with this market being so super saturated with a lot of the D2 flippers that are already so similar, you know, Civivi doing so many things that are almost repetitive, it just keeps me from buying more of their stuff. It doesn't keep me from appreciating it when I get it. Like when I unboxed the shredder, I was like, this is a heck of a knife. This is a shredder. It's a good little blade here. You know, and I do like the difference in the G10, and again, it's a solid one. And if you're just looking for one EDC, you've got this whole line of Civivi knives that's well made. You can look at all the different designs and say, ah, that's the one that's for me, and you've got a good knife. That's a great thing to be able to do as someone who wants to buy a knife. But if you're like me, you know, you're going to look at this and you're going to say, well, it's not my favorite design, and I've already got a Civivi that feels pretty much the same way as that, so like, why bother? And so that's how it is with this knife, and that's how it is with Civivi, sort of in general right now. I mean, they have done, and I do want to give them credit for, you know, a few different types of things, and like the rustic gent and the Appalachian, which they've sort of branched off to, and hopefully they continue to do stuff like that and just evolve the line that they have. But as of now, you know, any more stuff like this, it just isn't. It's just a little bit underwhelming. All right, a couple other things before we wrap this up, when we're gonna just finish talking about the Mastadon. It does have the same basic clip that you see on just about all your Civivis, reversible, so you know, nothing out of the expectation here. I will say that the G10 seems to be a little bit just like lighter traction than what I'm used to on Civivis. So I don't know if it's just like sanded down just a little bit more. I'm not 100% sure. You know, certainly it's different from on this one where it's just super nice and high traction, but this is just on a different level. So yeah, we do have that. Overall, again, I don't think it's a bad piece, but it's certainly just design-wise isn't the one for me. And again, as cool as it is to see like a flat grind, I think performance-wise, I would definitely prefer the stuff that I have in the Backlash, or, you know, if this were going to be my knife, the Shredder. All right, guys, that's really all I got. Just wanted to share that with you, give you my take on Civivi, and just let you know, my thoughts when it comes to what they're putting out. Any questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, let me know down below. Let me know your favorite Civivi. Let me know what things you sort of think are repetitive in the industry that you just would stop buying, and let me know which ones that, hey, despite all that, I still want to buy them. The stuff like my mini grip, right? Thanks for watching again, guys. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.